Please help me welcome Cheryl Goh.
Hi everyone, my name is Cheryl and I am the head of marketing at Grab, as Hakim said. I joined them 6 years ago when there was still a really small company called My Taxi. And back then, we were only just a taxi booking app and we only operated out of KL. How many people have heard of My Taxi, just so I know? Okay. So this was our office back then. I joined them before we raised any money. And so our office was actually the storeroom of an MLM company. And our furniture was all hand-me-downs. And we ran out of chairs. Those boxes, we used them as chairs. So this was really what it was like. And we had a really small and lean team. Two of the early guys are also here as well with me. And we had no money for temps and extra staff. So what that means is, besides being the head of marketing, I was also KL's most expensive promoter girl, and I was also a free talent for posters that we used to stop people from drinking. Over the years, Grab's done well. We're one of, we are now in 300 cities across Southeast Asia. We're one of Southeast Asia's most recognized organization, and because I managed to ride on that wave, I'm also, I've got the benefit of, being celebrated for some of the work that I do in the organization, something I'm really proud of. So I get asked a lot to speak at conferences, and recently I was asked this question by another moderator. She asked me, what would you like to tell other young girls who aspire to be successful? And I realized that perhaps when someone looks at me, they think, maybe she's got it all figured out. Maybe she's smart, maybe she's successful, maybe she came from pedigree. But the reality is, I came from a very, very unremarkable background. I grew up in Sabah. My mom and dad were middle class. I went to public school. I never got a scholarship. Pretty basic, and I was, like a typical normal kid. And when I was in university, I went to Sunway College. I went to Metropolitan College, everything done locally, although twinning. And I changed my mind many times. I did mass comm, too easy. Did accounting, too hard, too boring. Then I finally decided, just get a damn degree in Curtin, right? So I sorted all of that out, but honestly, I hardly absorbed anything because what I was focused on, besides troll slaying, was Counter-Strike. So, that's all I kind of focus on. I, practice my headshots with a, like a handgun. And I didn't really take away much else from my formal education. And on top of all of that, besides not doing that well in school and messing up and graduating late, I've always been insecure and a bit nervous about what the future holds. And I remember graduating with my degree, not really from a prestigious school, not really with, like a silver spoon in my mouth. And I thought, what on earth am I going to do? And the job market was really, really tough at that point of time. And so I ended up working for Citibank as a salesperson. So I was selling housing loans. And I was absolutely terrible. And this job is one where commission makes a difference. And I was thinking to myself, I'm going to fuck up real badly in life. And I think what changed all of that was fear. My parents decided, that's it. We're not giving you a single cent. You're a graduate, grow up. And they really meant it. And they didn't even help me when I didn't have enough money to pay for my car loan, and repossessors came to take it away. I had to borrow money. It was one of the most horrific experiences. So my next job was in a company called MOL. And I decided, I'll join this company because if I join a proper, larger organization, it'll be hard to progress. So I choose a startup, and I decided I'm going to really focus and climb this corporate ladder in an unstructured environment, right? And to do that, I decided that I have this philosophy. It wasn't that clear, but I guess this is what happened, is to work one level above your pay grade. So if you're an assistant manager, you work like a manager. If you're a manager, then you work like a VP. If you're a VP, you work like a senior VP. So after 7 years, I started right at the bottom. I left as a senior VP. A couple of my guys who are also here work exactly like that, and they're equally as successful. But after 7 years, as a senior VP from a startup, I didn't know whether it was legitimate anywhere else, right? And so when NSTP offered me a job, I thought, okay, this was a great way to make my senior VP title really mean something, because I would be reporting directly to the CEO. but I wanted to make sure they paid me well, and so I asked them for a 100% pay raise and got it. So I think one thing I learned, especially as a woman, don't be shy, no harm asking. So, you know, I think, but after 2 years of working in NSTP, I realized the politics was just a bit too much. I was young, female, and Chinese. It was a bit really challenging at a senior management role. And then I met Anthony, who convinced me to join this startup that nobody has ever heard of. And at that point, it was really, I was like, this is crazy. I love the story, but do I really want to do it? And in the end, I took the plunge because I realized that I had this last win in me. I was in my early 30s. And I was like, I want to do something incredible before I have no more energy left. And so I chose to join Grab. And so I think as time passes, you know, the stars and moon align. We've become a fairly successful company. I've contributed to the growth of the organization in the same way they contributed to mine. And I'm truly thankful. But I think what I want to tell people today is, when you look at me, know that many moments I had no idea whether any of these decisions was going to lead up to something. I couldn't connect, and you can never connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards, and for me, it just kind of happened. So not remarkable, not super smart, not super driven, it just kind of happened. And so back to that question, what would I tell young girls? I'll tell them this. Make sure you don't need to come from pedigree, you don't need to be rich, you don't need to be smart. You just need to make sure every single day that you live is a day better than the last, and that you're a great human being, and that you need a bit of luck. Thank you.